Welcome to the Trans Trail, a retro video game by Fallon Fox, done in the style of Oregon Trail. And not just for nostalgia, but a very good reason, because the objective of this game is to not die for 5 years. As a person whose mantra basically is try not to die, this struck me as interesting. Also, I'm a big nerd for retro video games, but this one, oh goodness, like the original Oregon Trail, there's a whole lot of ways to die. And we're gonna try our best not to. Let's check it out. So we begin with an opening screen, general store. We've got $2,000 to try to survive our 5 years. What can we buy? We can buy pepper spray to help defend against attackers in violent situations. We can get self-defense classes, training to increase survival during violent encounters. Yeah, violence comes up kind of a lot when you're a trans person. Ask me how I know. You can get 1 year of hormone supply. It only gives you 12 months of hormone access, but it'll help increase your progress. You can get a 5-pack of therapy sessions, which could, it restores mental health when feeling depressed. Mental health is a statistic. It's one of your stats you have to keep an eye on over the course of the game. And with good reason, because mental health decline is one of the chief ways that trans people lose the game, so to speak. You could get legal aid membership to help fight job and housing discrimination, because that's a real thing in the United States. Ask me how I know. You can have emergency fund savings to help prevent homelessness by covering unexpected expenses. That hugely useful. There's always something that comes up, and things can be a little unstable, especially when you're dealing with both job and housing insecurity. Voice training to help improve job prospects and reduce dysphoria. Hugely useful if you can get it. You can voice train on your own, to be clear, but this is for the purposes of the game. Support group membership increases social support by connecting with peers. Again, hugely useful. Feeling alone and isolated is another one of the big problems. It decreases our mental health. And surgery fund, because in the United States, access to necessary life-saving medical care often is whoever can afford it, and tough luck to the rest. So, what should we get? $2,000. Cool. We can't afford everything. What do we need? Well, we're definitely gonna need the legal aid, and therapy sessions could literally save our lives. We need hormones. And self-defense classes might come in very, very useful. That drops us to $1,100. So let's put some away for surgery. That leaves us with $100. What can we get? Voice training. Boom, voice training. There and $0. You can't even buy the minimum of what you need for 1 year, which is kind of accurate. All right, let's see how we do. Now, like Oregon Trail, what happens each month is randomly generated. First month, we're at 100 health, 100 mental health, 0% transition progress, and we've got $200. But we do have our lovely inventory up there. Okay, a local gender clinic closes due to restrictive legislation, reducing your access to care. Awesome! Our options are travel to another state, use unsafe black market options, or go on without professional care for now. And that's a real problem. That's a thing that people in many, many states have to face in the United States. Boop, no medical care for you. What do? Black market, no care, go to another state. What do you do? Well, since our object is to survive and hopefully transition, as an added goal, I suppose, let's travel to another state for care. You secure treatment elsewhere at greater expense and emotional cost. And our mental health has decreased, and our money is now negative $700. Holy shit. We're up to negative $500, but we have 5% transition progress, and we gained a point back in mental health. A religious organization denies you services because you are trans. Of course they do. What a very Christian thing to do. So, our options: file a discrimination complaint, boycott and tell your friends, or just accept it quietly. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one because religious organizations aren't covered by a lot of the same rules that other nonprofits are, or other businesses are, for example. They have a lot of wiggle room for religious exemptions if they can demonstrate that their religion actually demands a certain practice, and they're not just using their religion as a shield for their bigotry. For instance, when they made a habit of discriminating against gay people, and many of them still do, they can say, well, the Holy Book says gay people are sinful. The Holy Book says everyone is sinful, but never mind that. But it's specific, they could point to a specific thing, saying my religion says this is wrong, and so it would be wrong of me to help them for some reason. Like the two things, the one doesn't entail the other, but they had a thing. But that's harder to do with the same Holy Book and trans people, because the only place we're actually mentioned, even peripherally, is Paul telling other churches they should strive to be more like us for the sake of the kingdom. But never mind that. They hate us, they can't say why, and they claim it's for religious reasons. Love it. So what do? This is a personal choice. It'll be different for everybody. Me personally, I'm feeling litigious today, so let's file a discrimination complaint. The process is draining and costs money. Because of course it does. You can't do anything with the legal system unless you pay to play. Because this is the United States, baby. Yay, capitalism! So our mental health has gone down, and we have less money. We're even more negative money on month number 2. This is amazing. Month 3, we're recovering some financially. We've gained a point back in mental health. You develop complications after surgery that need follow-up care. Fuck. Now, this isn't even, like, our transitioning surgery. This is just a regular surgery. Because in addition to transitioning, you have to live regular life also side by side, and sometimes things happen, like you need a surgery for regular reasons. Ask me how I know. And things come up. So what do? Seek medical care or wait it out and hope it improves? Considering our money situation, I would love to use the surgery fund for this, because it's not transition surgery, but it's surgery related, but I don't think the game will let me. So I'm gonna say wait it out and hope it improves, because unfortunately that's what I have to do for a lot of medical things in my life. Personally speaking, you should not do this. It is unsafe, but that's what I'm gonna do for the purposes of this game. Your condition worsens and you regret delaying care, and our health dropped to 49. Which is super relatable. But this isn't even a trans person thing. It's a thing trans people deal with on top of everything else. It's a poor person thing. Because anybody could be subject to that exact situation and have the exact same outcome. But that kind of highlights how trans people have the double whammy of having to deal with trans issues on top of all the other bullshit. And there's no shortage. Month 4, our money is up to negative 175. You interview for a job and must decide whether to disclose your trans identity. This is another one of those very, very personal things, because you don't have to disclose. No one is entitled to your medical information. Even if you go see a new doctor, they need your permission to access your past medical files. Now, you probably want your doctor to know your health information so they can take care of you properly, but they're not entitled to it. No one is entitled to your medical information. If you choose to disclose, do so for your reasons, not because you feel like you have to. So in this case, disclose your identity up front or keep it private. Now, there are consequences either way. If you disclose up front, you may not get the job because employment discrimination. But if you keep it private, it may come out later and you could end up with a lot of various kinds of trouble. For the purposes of this game, I'm going to say keep it private because it is nobody's business. You get the job, but constantly fear being outed. Mental health goes down because even though discrimination against trans people is technically prohibited by constitutional law and Supreme Court rulings, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Many states, including mine, have laws that specifically enumerate transgender status, identity, and so forth as protected characteristics. But it still happens. Ask me how I know. And it's on you as the victim of discrimination to put money and effort into fighting the person who broke the law and harmed you. What a system. Okay, month 5. Our money is feeling a little better now. We're up to $325. Our mental health is ticking up, but our regular health is still stuck at 49. You must travel to see a gender specialist out of state. Of course we do. Fly and stay in a hotel? Ha, money bags. Drive and stay with friends, or cancel the appointment. I mean, it says we must. It doesn't say why we must, but it says we must. Now, I realize we just had, like a complication from a surgery, an infection, whatever, that needed medical treatment and said, nah, can't do it. And now I'm like in a position where I have to prioritize seeing a gender specialist over that thing that I already said no to. But we are in a slightly better financial situation now. So yeah, let's do it the cheap way. Drive and stay with friends. And it wasn't that cheap. We're in the negative again. Awesome! You save money, but the long drive is tiring. And our mental health went down too. Oh goodness. Okay, month 6. 6 months. Our money's back into the positive, barely. Things are not looking great. A police officer stops you without cause and questions your gender. Again, this is a thing that happens. We've reported on it in this show. So what do? Comply with it and hope it ends quickly, ask why you were stopped, or record the interaction. Oh boy, this is going to have negative consequences no matter what we do, as is often the case in real life situations. I would record the interaction no matter what else happens, because then there's a record of the interaction. Recording provides documentation, but heightens the tensions. Of course it does. And our mental health is down to 28. But we're still surviving. Month 7, your neighbor sets fire to a pride flag outside your home. Awesome! Should we confront them and call the authorities? I mean, call the authorities. Yeah, that person is setting fire to things. Ignore it and replace the flag, or take down the flag and stay silent. And this is similar to the first thing, right? Like, do we just let them get away with it? Do we let them get away with it in a different way by just replacing the flag? Or do we take direct action and put ourselves at risk for it? For this game, I'm going to stick with my litigious course and call the authorities, but I know the confrontation is gonna suck. The confrontation is scary and exhausting. Of course, and our mental health is down to 12. Oh boy. Okay. Month 8, the boss discovers your transition and says the company cannot keep you on staff. Clear-cut case of discrimination. You can't work here, not because you're not doing a good job, but because of what kind of person you are. Straight up, wholesale, open-door discrimination. And yet, it's on you to do something about it. So what do? Contest the termination with legal aid. Accept the termination and look for new work. Try to talk to HR without legal aid. Now, thing about HR, HR departments exist to protect the company, not the employees. Talking to them is probably not going to help all that much. So yeah, let's use our legal aid. That's what it's for. Bloop. With legal aid, you contest the termination and keep your job, but our mental health is now 4. We're only 8 months in. You read a news story about violence against a trans woman in your city. What do? Share the article to raise awareness, donate to a mutual aid fund, or avoid the news to protect yourself. We've only got $600, and we've been pretty negative recently. I don't think donation is a viable option for us right now. Avoiding the news, sometimes you gotta, for your mental health, and our mental health is in a pretty bad place. Share the article could be beneficial, but could backfire, because there's a lot of haters and trolls out there. So considering our mental health is in a really bad place, I'm going to avoid it in this case. Avoiding reality doesn't alleviate your fear, which is true. You already know that story's out there, and now you got to worry about it. So now our mental health is 0. Fortunately, it ticked back up to 1. Your landlord learns you are trans and evicts you without cause. But hey, we got our legal aid membership, so let's fight the eviction. Because moving into a shelter, neither one of these is going to be healthy for our mental health, but that's what the legal aid is for. So we fight the eviction. Your attorney fights the eviction and you remain housed. We drop to 0 mental health again, but only 0. And we have a house. For now. Month 11, a stranger asks you highly personal questions about your genitals. Oh my goodness, if I had $1 for every time, I'd never need to work again. Let's put it that way. Okay, so what are our options? Tell them it's rude and walk away, which is true. Answer sarcastically, which could be fun, but also possibly dangerous, or ignore them. Now, again, this is one of those situations where it depends on what you need out of the encounter. Considering our mental health is super low, I'm going to go with avoiding the confrontation entirely and ignore them. As a personal matter, I'd probably tell them it's rude and walk away, because it is, and walking away is the only response they really deserve as far as I'm concerned. But I'm worried about our mental health. Silence doesn't protect you from feeling objectified, which is true. We're back to 0 on next month. 1 year! Hooray! We're 20% of the way through. We're back up to 1. Your landlord refuses to make repairs because of your gender identity. Of course they do. Because they want you out, they don't like you there, you're only still there because of legal pressure. Of course they're not going to make it easy for you. So do you threaten legal action, do it yourself, or move out and protest? Now, our money's a little bit better, but moving out in protest after fighting to stay seems kind of silly. Honestly, threatening legal action is the right course, because you will win in court, assuming our legal aid will help with that. But considering our money is better than our mental health, maybe doing the repairs ourselves is the way to go. You spend money and time on repairs that aren't your responsibility. And we lost a point of mental health and some money. Yay. Overwhelmed by stress, you have a severe panic attack and need immediate coping strategies. Oh my goodness. Can we just take a second to talk about how a panic attack, a severe panic attack, should be considered a medical emergency? But I do digress. So what do? Use a therapy session from the pre-purchased package. Yeah, that's what that's for. Call a trusted friend, also a possible option, or try to manage on your own. All too often, that's the only option you have. But in this case, that's what the package is for, so let's use one. Bloop. And unfortunately, it appears to have used all 5. Oof. Speaking with your therapist helps you regain some mental stability. And we're back up to 21, the highest we've been in months. Yay, therapy. And therapy is good for everyone. I mean, I'm not sponsored by any therapy things or whatever the case may be, but like, I started therapy a few years ago, and I was carrying so much baggage I didn't even know was there because I'd been carrying it for so freaking long. And I think that's true for most people. Whether you know you're dealing with something, there's more things that you're not aware of that you're also dealing with that are making the thing you are aware of even heavier. And if you think you're fine, you're probably carrying stuff that you've been carrying so long you forgot you're carrying it. Therapy, I very much believe, can help everyone. I realize access is often difficult because, yay capitalism, in a for-profit health industry, it's not always easy to access. But if you can, it might be good. Month 14, you join a rally advocating for trans rights. Hell yeah. Speak publicly, sign a petition and show up, or stay home due to fear of backlash. This is risky. Very risky. So you miss out, you don't gain anything from it. Sign a petition and show up. Could be good, could have an impact. But you know what? Me personally, I really enjoy public speaking. So let's do that. Sharing your story inspires others and strengthens your support network. And our mental health went up a bit. Now, to be clear, that could have gone very wrong very quickly. We could have been heckled. We could have been attacked by, Nazis. Any number of things. So it's good that it went well. A friend keeps misgendering you in casual conversation despite reminders. Have a serious conversation, let it slide, or stop hanging out with them. Well, if they're a friend, see, here's the thing. You have to decide, are they a real friend who is just not taking your issue seriously? Like, hey, you're hurting me. Please stop that. Or are they a fake friend who really doesn't care and enjoys hurting you? If it's one of those, then, cutting them off because they're a bad friend might be what you need to do. But on the other hand, if they're just absent-minded, maybe having the serious conversation will help. Letting it slide, that just hurts you. And I understand not everybody has the mental health points to engage one way or the other. And maybe letting it slide is what you have to do based on your circumstances. But if you can do something, you should do something. I'm going to try to save the friendship, so let's have a serious conversation. You speak your truth, but it's emotionally taxing. And our mental health went down a bit. Big oof. Okay, hormone therapy causes mood swings and headaches. Yeah, it sure can. It often does. Consult your doctor, adjust doses yourself, or stop hormones briefly. Oh goodness, don't do that. That's not safe. No. If you can, you should consult your doctor. Our money's in a much better situation, so we should probably do that. Your doctor adjusts your regimen and you feel better. Our money goes down a bit. Our mental health goes up a bit. We're still at 49 health. We still haven't gotten that issue treated. The weight of discrimination and dysphoria leaves you feeling deeply depressed. Call a supportive friend or withdraw and keep it to yourself. And this is another thing that'll just pop up. Like, it's not an outside thing that's done to you, but it's the cumulative weight of all the outside things weighing upon you. Eventually, something gives. And you just have these intense negative feelings. And you've got to deal with them. It's not a choice to have them, but you got to cope if you want to survive. So what do? We've already used our therapist, even though we were supposed to have 5 sessions. Let's call a supportive friend. Connecting with someone who understands helps a bit. And our mental health went up slightly. Yay. Month 18, you're offered an earlier gender-affirming surgery date if you pay out of pocket. This could be expensive. We do have some money, but we also have our surgery fund. So let's pay the additional cost now and see what happens. You pay extra, have the surgery earlier, and feel relieved. We didn't use the surgery fund for some reason, and we're at negative $975, but our transition progress went up to 25%. Hooray! Oh, but Mr. Man here is here to like ruin our day. So I guess we were too much in the negative. Which is unfortunate because we actually had a surgery fund. Oh goodness. The game itself, The Trans Trail, the web address is really long and not friendly to remembering. It's 68991616 F0BED0783353154154F hyphen grand hyphen KLEPON hyphen 165E52 dot NETLIFY.app. Good luck with that. So I have linked to it on my website, betterthanember.com, under the resources tab. At the bottom of additional trans resources, you can find The Trans Trail. For your convenience, if you would like to play, see if you can do better than me, see if you can make it all 60 months. And good luck. You might find a lot of relatable things in it. And if you're not a trans person, even though it's a video game version of things, it might still help you gain some perspective on what it feels like to be one of us.